For the last few patches, Warlock has been one of the highest win rate heroes in all of Dota, and I'm not just saying that. Currently, it is the 4th highest win rate hero in all of Dota. It's right behind Wraith King and one other hero. Actually, I don't even remember. Lich. Ah, yes, Lich. Of course, Lich is number 3, but Warlock's number 4. We're going to be covering Warlock here today. Alliance picked it twice in the Wallachia Major that's going on right now. And yeah, I'm a big believer in this hero. I think it's one of the best pub heroes in the game. I think pros have been overlooking it for a while. And the reason why it tends to get overlooked in the pro scene is because the hero can feel slow-paced. At least in the past, it had this issue where if it was under-leveled, it would feel really bad. If the enemy is split pushing, it doesn't really have a great stun to deal with it. But now, Warlock is way different. It's way different for a couple of reasons. We're going to cover that in today's video, and let's get into it. On top of that, go sign up to the gameleap website, guys. I'm posting new content over there almost every day, and I'll see you there. Alright, so let's start with the starting items and the starting skill build. He takes Fatal Bonds at level 1, however, he doesn't do this every game. I've watched both of his games now. He took the heal at level 1 the other game, and he used it to trade. The Fatal Bonds he skilled this game because there was a rune fight, or sort of a rune fight. Basically, the enemy clumped up at the runes, and so he took Fatal Bonds. Totally reasonable. However, if you're just trading 1v1 with the enemy support, I do think it's actually better to take Shadow Word, especially if you don't want to push the wave, right? If you have a weak level 1 carry who doesn't want to play up, they don't want to farm under the enemy tower, maybe they're playing Spectre or they're playing PA or something like that. I think it's better to use your heal on yourself and just trade with it. So that's what I would look for. Those are the things I would angle towards. In terms of starting items, 2 branches, Blood Grenade, Fairy Fire, 6 tangos, Sentry. You're going to buy a second Sentry, of course, and yeah, you're going to rinse repeat. For the laning stage, if you're going to skill Fatal Bonds, it's pretty straightforward, guys. Fatal Bonds links to 6 units. This is very convenient because that's the 4 creeps in the creep wave and the 2 heroes, so your best case scenario is an entire creep wave and 2 heroes. If you get that opportunity, you should basically always click it, and so just look for that off cooldown if you skill your Q. In this clip here, as the wave shoves in, he does find an opportunity to Fatal Bonds the Primal Beast off a nice hook, and it makes a bit of a difference here as well, because every single time this creep wave takes damage, even just from the creeps, it actually does damage to Primal Beast, and it finishes him off. The next item he buys is a Mango. You have a lot of mana problems on this hero, and that's going to be a theme throughout the video. This hero's mana pool is its biggest issue. We're going to be talking about how to solve that, because even Kadaro wasn't perfect about it this game. But yeah, he buys a Mango, and then the next 2 items, funny enough, are a stick and a blood grenade. So buying another blood grenade, wants to go for more kills in this lane. He's laning with a Pudge. I think if you're not laning with a Pudge, if you're laning with something like Spectre, I would lean towards buying raindrops, more clarities, more sentries, more regen. Basically things to just sustain the lane you're going to play to be more of a heal bot, like the classic Warlock. However, if you're playing with something like Pudge, you actually can be a very aggressive hero as well. Ever since they made it where Shadow Word basically has a 0 cast point, it's become a great offensive ability. In the past, it used to take like 3 years to cast the heal. Your hero would have to stop, cancel an auto attack, and then you would heal. Now, it just comes out instantly, and so it's much better for trading in the early game. And the upcoming situation we see here is really common, where the wave is shoving really hard. This is because Fatal Bonds is like the heaviest wave shove ability in the game. When this happens, it's really, really powerful to continue to play up. Instead of going for a pull, if the enemy is low because they've been tanking Fatal Bonds, continue to dive, continue to put pressure, right? And we'll see in this clip here, the tower dive goes on for a long time. It's kind of one of the benefits of having Pudge. He can look for a hook, as this Primal Beast positioning was not good in this laning stage. So next at level 3, he's going to skill his Shadow Word. A lot of people will be tempted to take Fatal Bonds, but Fatal Bonds doesn't scale very well. It goes up in mana cost, which is fine, but it barely goes up in shared damage, and the cooldown reduction, it's not that good at this point in the game. Much better to take the heal, which goes from 150 total health to 250 total health. It's very, very significant. It also increases in cast range, which is more convenient than you'd think. Now, for the next few minutes, he ends up having a lot of mana problems, and to be fair, his courier right here gets sniped with a clarity on it. I just want to make it very clear, guys, if you do play this hero, I like his items, and I would actually try to copy what he does. Stick, raindrops, and a clarity. If you need another clarity, well then buy a clarity. This hero's biggest issue is mana problems. All throughout the game, it's going to be mana problems. You're going to kill people as long as you have mana, so spam clarities. Do not be greedy, don't rush a Midas, don't rush an Axe, buy the small mana items, and win the early game. Okay, next let's talk about the Facet Black Grimoire. A lot of people actually take the other one, the Champion of Goroth, which makes your golem do extra burn damage based on how much mana regen and HP regen you have. I don't understand how this one even has a good win rate, because honestly I don't really see what it does. And on top of that, Black Grimoire, in my opinion, is one of the best facets in the game. Let me explain it for anyone who doesn't know what it is. Basically, Warlock gets a neutral item as the game starts. It's called Black Grimoire. It starts with 1 charge, so it immediately gets a charge, and every single time you get a kill or an assist, it gets an extra charge. Every single charge gives you 250 experience when you use the item. You only get to use it once. So if you use it early game to hit an early level 6, you can't use it in the mid game. So you're gonna get a faster level 6, but you're not gonna get as many charges as you could. So basically you're playing this weird game of when do I click it to get the most value. We're gonna cover that in a second. But I wanna quickly make sure you guys understand how crazy this number is. 250 XP, you guaranteed get 1 charge. At minute 7, people die for wisdom runes. I'm sure you know this. Now, to be fair, the wisdom runes give XP to 2 heroes, which is why it's very significant, and it takes it away from the enemy, which is why it's even more significant. But the first wisdom rune is 280 XP. Black Grimoire, 1 charge, is 250. So if you get 2 assists in a lane, or 1 kill and 1 assist, you will get 750 XP. That is almost a minute 21 wisdom rune that you can pop at minute 7. You cannot use this until minute 7, but basically what I'd recommend is use it when it's gonna get you level 6, or use it when it's gonna get you level 12. The reason for this is, well, I mean, I guess it's pretty straightforward, frankly. Level 6 in the early game is kind of a big timing. This golem is absolutely insane and destroys people, so hitting a level 6 at minute 8, which is very possible, and he almost could have done it in this fight. I think he barely wouldn't have enough XP. I would say at level 5, if you have 3 charges, you will get level 6. If you're high level 4 and you have 3 charges, you will also get level 6. 2 charges will not give you level 6. It will barely miss, so I wouldn't use it then. I would wait a little bit longer like he does here. The reason why you can also wait is some games, you're gonna be, let's say you're level 5.5, right? And no fights happen, nothing's going on. There's no reason to use the Black Grimoire. Isn't really going to make a lot of sense. Why would you pop it and miss out on that future XP you could get? So if you're going to naturally hit level 6, don't just pop the Black Grimoire. If it's going to be the difference between whether or not you get it in an early game fight, then pop it. Level 12 is the other timing I recommend waiting for because it makes the golem do 50% more damage, have 50% more health, more movement speed, double the regen, 50% more armor. It's obviously just a much better spell. In this game, he opts for the early level 6. It ends up paying off. Now, I will admit, I don't like the fact that he kind of just used it when it didn't immediately give him the ult. I would highly avoid that, guys. It's something you can actively learn to do, right? So I don't love that. And in this clip, dude, this frustrated me so much when I was watching this. He gets gone on. Minute 8 is level 6. Classic Warlock. This is why Black Grimoire is broken. This fight right here is the exact reason it's broken. Enemy subs, level 5 and level 3. He's level 6. He gets gone on, lives, isn't stunned right here. How do you not ult? He cancels it. Dude, I couldn't, just ult. Oh my god, this golem does 1 billion damage. It would have killed the primal quicker. It would have gone and killed this Ench. Like, oh, this was like the perfect clip. This is like the poster clip for this video, and Kadaro messed it up. But whatever, you get the point. This is why Warlock can be really, really broken if you use the Grimoire early on. Alright, for his items, I actually really like his items. I think this is kind of the new meta support item build. So I really, really love what he's got going here. Raindrops, Fluffy Hat. The Fluffy Hat can build into a lot of things. Force Staff, Solar Crest, Urn, even. I actually think Warlock's a good Vessel hero. And then Raindrops, this is kind of replacing Brazier. You also don't really want Mana Boots now because it's 100 gold more expensive and it's nerfed. Still, a lot of people are buying Mana Boots. I wouldn't completely shy away from Mana Boots, guys. If you need them, you need them. If your hero relies on them, then you still should buy them. There's no real replacement. Usually you want to give mana to your Tusk this game or your Pudge. You know, there's plenty of reasons to buy the Mana Boots, so don't shy away from it too much. Fight breaks out here. This Fatal Bond's a little cringe. Didn't really actually connect anyone, but his ulti here gets a lot of value. It drops down on the Storm and the Mirana, stuns him in the Eidolons, and man, this golem in the early game absolutely cooks. And what's really nice about Warlock, one of my favorite parts about the hero, is even after you die, this golem farms like crazy. It clears out. It can kill an ancient camp, like I'm not kidding. It lasts for 60 seconds, it can kill every single neutral camp in the game, it can kill every single wave. Like we'll see it here, I mean, it's easily killing these ancients because it has 25 HP regen. So this is like one of the fastest farming, oh this is so sad. This is one of the fastest farming heroes in the game. Next, let's talk about the following skill build. So at level 7, he maxes out his heal, and actually I really like this build. Ever since they buffed it where the heal just comes out really quickly, this ability has become so much better. As I said, in the past, it just took a long time to come out, and it made it really inconvenient. Now it's much better, and it's a 450 HP heal on a 12-second cooldown. It does cost a lot of mana at 140, and that's kind of the problem. Once again, mana problems are the issue with the hero, and that's why I do recommend buying mana boots in a lot of games. I think it's totally fine. He decides to go the other mana route, and I've been talking about this in my videos. I think your other option is just buying up a V's and spamming clarities with raindrops in a wand. That's what he's doing here. So it's pretty cool to see that we're on the same page in that regard. But it will give you way more mana problems than, of course, buying mana boots. And as I said, in this game, clicking mana boots on something like a Pudge is really high value. So I think if he was to go back in time and rewatch this, he would probably also buy the mana boots, especially because it's good with his teammates. All right, let's talk about teamfight execution, talents, and items. So in terms of talents, I think there's a couple of options. This one's actually not so straightforward. At level 10, he takes Fatal Bonds damage. I will say, I think if it's a game where the enemy team has a lot of dispels for whatever reason, then it's actually better to go the upheaval radius route. The reason why is it scales really well with the level 15 talent, which makes it where upheaval attack speed is granted on allies. So basically, for every second the upheaval is up, it gives 10 attack speed to allies, and it caps at 70. But it's 70, and so for high ground sieges, you put down your upheaval, and your hard carry just has 70 attack speed sieging the hill. So that's really good, and it obviously pairs well with that 10 talent. So big fan of both the talents. I think they're almost equally as good. At 15, I heavily lean towards upheaval attack speed. At 20, I think Summons a Golem on Death generally is better. However, upheaval damage is no joke and can be considered. And at level 25, this one just depends on the game. Obviously, if they have more magic damage, you take magic resist. If they have physical damage, you take armor. It just depends on the game. In terms of items, in my opinion, there's two major routes, but one route I really like. So the route that he's going is sort of my favorite, minus an item. So my favorite route is Solar Crest into drums. The reason why is when you summon the golem, you can drums it and Solar Crest it, and it gets like 105 or 115 attack speed with like haste movement speed. It's really funny and it's really strong. It will completely zone out any support from the team fight due to this nasty amount of movement speed and attack speed. Plus, it makes your hero really tanky and it gives you a mana pool. So that's a wonderful build on the hero and definitely can be considered. What he's going is kind of somewhat of an in-between. He's going for Solar Crest and a Glimmer, very defensive route, totally fine. The Glimmer against Storm is nice. You can also click it while using Upheaval, so it's hard for something like a Storm to Electric Vortex you during that channel, or a Shadow Demon to disrupt you, or anyone to cast some sort of targeted stun. So that's a good option as well, to click Glimmer during your E. Those are the two routes I'd recommend, either Solar Crest into drums or Solar Crest in a Glimmer. Now in terms of team fighting, we're going to look at it here. I mean, I think part of the reason this hero has a high win rate is the team fighting is pretty straightforward. You heal anyone if they're dying. If no one's dying, you use it aggressively. And then if people stack up, you click your ult and you click your Q. The only thing I would say other than that is the ulti stun pierces BKB. So if there's an enemy carry that's going crazy and they have a BKB active like a Sven, who's very reliant on the BKB timing to get work done, it is valuable to actually just click your ult on them and stop them from killing whoever they're going on. In terms of using Upheaval, I think this is the most difficult ability. I would actually recommend being patient. The cast range on Upheaval is not the best. Unless you have Aether Lens, it actually puts you out of position a lot of the time. As a result, in teamfights, I would recommend doing what he does here, which is clicking your Q, clicking your ult, and then generally kiting out. I would say what he does, which is walking forward, is not something I would recommend. Cast a Q, cast the ult, and then walk away. Because a lot of the time, let's say his E was up, clicking it here, you're probably just gonna die anyway, right? It's just not worth it. It's better to get off your long range spells, the Fatal Bonds, and the Chaotic Offering, kite out, and then get off a really nice Upheaval when everyone is distracted with the chaos going on in the fight. Nonetheless, they end up destroying them in this fight, considering it was mostly just him and a Nature's Prophet ulti. This Nature's Prophet combo with Fatal Bonds is nasty. One of the best combos in the game, right? Just because it's essentially guaranteed to hit everyone who's Fatal Bonded, including the Creep Wave. So, really cool combo. And I think a big reason as well that this 10 talent makes sense, this Fatal Bonds damage, is because he has so much synergy. He's got a Gleipnir, NP ulti, and of course a carry Pudge, who are all doing AoE damage. Finally, the last thing before we wrap up the video is map movement. So I would say the two main things you do on this hero are push out creep waves. It's really good at that because Fatal Bonds is really high cast range. It's super safe. On top of that, something I didn't mention, but it kind of just naturally makes this hero better at clearing waves, is every single time a unit dies when they're affected by your abilities, this can be really anything, well, literally anything, they'll spawn an imp. These imps scale up, their damage scales up based on your chaotic offering level. So the more points you get in ulti, the better this talent gets. And so, yeah, the Fatal Bonds, when the creep wave dies, it creates imps, and these imps explode on the creep wave, and then it continues to push out the wave faster and faster, right? So this hero is really good at that. So you can clear waves, you can actually like not split push, but help deal with the waves, or you can just sit behind your teammates. Like really, these are the two things you do. You're not really gonna set up kills. You shouldn't be clicking solo smokes, nothing like this. Sit behind your teammates or push out waves, and definitely put an emphasis on stacks because this hero is really good at clearing stacks with all of its abilities. It can click ulti to do it, it can click Fatal Bonds, upheaval, and heal its ally who are all trying to take it. All right, let's look at this last fight. I'm gonna put it in free camera just so you can see the impact of this hero. 2-man ulti to start the fight, finds a Fatal Bonds, and you might not think it's that impactful to put it on 2 heroes, but let me tell you, it is. Also, conveniently, it connected to these skeletons and this medium camp, and it does make a difference, right? When these things explode, they all share the damage. This Mirana near dies to an NP ulti and Fatal Bonds. I mean, crazy, right? Heroes without dispels and no BKB cannot play against Warlock. And you know who doesn't buy any dispels and BKB? All of you guys, all of your damn 3K pups. I know you guys don't buy defensive items. Don't lie to me. You haven't bought a BKB in 3 years. I know you go Deso into Daedalus every single game, even though I told you. I told you not to. Last video, the video before that, I'm telling you, buy a Manta, buy a BKB. You'll actually win some games, and you'll stop blaming your teammates. But alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the gameleap website, where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.